Hi, so Charlie giving you Wednesday's video. Before I go into it, if you like our videos, do hit subscribe on the YouTube channel that you're watching this on, because it makes sure that you're notified every time a fresh video is released. Today's video is regarding making yourselves feel good as traders, and the subject title of this is all about stop losses and moving your stop. So you've got a trade. So you've entered here. Here's your entry, and I see this all the time. You've got a stop loss down here. Traders get into the trade. Maybe it moves a little bit, and then they want to move their stops up to break even. So often it's just a bit too soon. Then what happens is the market then comes down, nicks them out, never would have come down to their actual stop loss, and then carries on in its overall direction. I'm sure many of you have experienced this many times, and there's nothing wrong with having your stop up at break even, but please test it if that's the case, because the problem is that people do this to make themselves feel good, so they can say things like, well, at least it didn't cost me anything, or it's a risk-free trade. I hear being said a lot. Well, it's not actually a risk-free trade now, is it? Because if you've moved your stop up to break even, and then that trade would have actually ultimately carried on and got to your profit target, if you'd have just left your stop loss where it was, then it's not really risk free, because you've missed out on all of that gain there, which would pay for other losses. So you haven't got that gain there out of that trade. So but people like to move their stops up to make themselves feel good. You're not in trading to make yourself feel good. If you want to feel good, go and have a massage or something. Do something else if you want to feel good. But trading is about trading. Now, you can move your stops up to break even, and of course there are times when to do it. But please do test that as regards to when is the more appropriate time to do it, because what we see is traders move their stops to break even just a little bit too soon in the move, and then they get nicked out only to go higher. There was one really good example of a trader who tested his previous 2 months results, and because he found that he was moving his stops up a lot, and he found that on there was 15 trades, and I think it was something like on 8 of them they would have then got worked out to be winners. The other 7 that he got stopped out at break even, or would have ended up with an absolute stop out if he left his stops alone, that wouldn't have mattered, because he'd have made way more on the 8 winners than he'd have lost on the 7 losers. So it was a really good exercise for him to realize, oh blimey, yeah, I'm moving my stops up too much. So there's this week's video as regards to making yourself feel good. Please don't do it unless you've tested it, because certain strategies, they get, yes, they warrant moving stops up, but not all strategies, not all setups. So do make sure you've tested it if that's the case. Apologies for not doing a video last Friday. I ended up having to go down to Rachel's dad's in a hospice at the moment, so I had to shoot down there on Friday morning. And but anyway, should be back this Friday for live trading. See you then.